Hello, beautiful souls. This is Masami. I hope you are doing well and staying healthy. This is a short video that I wanted to put together for welcoming Mercury Retrograde that is coming right around the corner on Wednesday. And so this video will talk a little bit more about the pre-Mercury Retrograde and the thoughts that I have around this. And I wanted to invite you to a live call this Saturday that I will be diving deeply into this Mercury retrograde, energetic fields of this Mercury retrograde, but also what I'm seeing in physiology, working with clients, and like what we can do during this Mercury retrograde to really heal and up level our health as well. And I wanted to actually touch upon the current energetic shifts that we've been all going through, especially, I would say, since the Venus retrograde started. So, end of July, it's been pretty fast moving energy, a lot of destructive energies as well. And maybe giving you some energetic reflections on what's been going on around your neighborhood or maybe communities, but also around across the world. And, I wanted to maybe look at our own inner energetic fields, our own imbalances and balanced areas of who we are, but also collectively as well. And I would like to dedicate this Saturday's live call to everyone affected, which is all of us really, by the wildfires in Maui, but also all across Canada. There's so many wildfires in Canada right now, and also the one of the islands in Canary Islands, and also the flooding that is going on, mudslides are going on, and sweltering temperatures, and so much more that's going on. So it's this Saturday's call. I'm hoping that it isn't just about the Mercury retrograde and what we can all maybe pay attention to, also continue to grow with this retrograde forward, even though it's going backwards in the sky, what it appears to be. There's a lot of growth that's underneath all this that's happening right now. So we will talk about that, as well as I will be having my husband Chris over and maybe answering some of your questions if you have, and dedicating the time to what's all impacting all of us. And for some of you, it's directly impacting your life, your families and friends as well. So I just wanted to put that out there right off the bat. You're invited. And if you're on my email list, you will receive the Zoom link this week. Sometime I'm thinking Thursday or so, I'll be emailing you. And if you're not on my email list, please do go to masamicovey.com, and I'll put a link below as well, and join our email list, join our community. We have such beautiful people that show up for these calls, and we can truly come together to heal one another. And before I go into the pre-Mercury retrograde conversation here a little bit, I just wanted to acknowledge one more time that all our hearts have been impacted by all that's been happening. I just don't think you can be on this earth and not sense it or feel it. Even you don't pay attention to news, or you didn't know what's been going on all across the globe. There are things that you're definitely feeling, and you might be feeling a little bit of confusion, or even, a sense of like, what is going on? I don't feel grounded. Something is getting stirred up. So we are all being impacted, and as well as we're being impacted and challenged by our own personal struggles as well. So during these transformative and challenging times, it's calling us to come together as a community, because that's where we can become powerful together. That's when we can begin to heal together, not just in this individual realm, which is also important, but coming together is, as you know, is extremely powerful. And so setting aside some sincere time, it'll be about an hour or so of our call during your busy week and the weekend, and connect with a deeper place of yourself, the capital S self, and the source, and your heart center. So that's what I'm hoping to provide during the Saturday call. And I think this has become even more important than ever in our human history. And one more thing I wanted to add here is that I would like for you to know that I am not here to make sense of all that is happening in so many places on this earth, and for you individually as well, because this need to want to know, need to make sense of what's going on, needing to have your questions answered and everything making sense to your mind. You're just basically stroking your little S self over and over and over. The ego struggles, with chaos and confusions, and the ego likes to solve the puzzle per se. So it's very easy for us to fall into that trap of wanting to make sense of what's going on, wanting to calm our agitations and nervousness and even fear and anxiety by searching and seeking for things that possibly make sense to you. But I think we are being asked to grow up a little bit more spiritually. And that means to sometimes sit, stand firmly in this midst of difficulties and challenges, and things are just swirling around us and within us without really knowing exactly where this is going. Because when you can sit or stand firmly long enough in this, despite the disequilibrium, that's when we can actually elevate. This is when we can up level who we are as human beings together. So I wanted to make sure that you didn't come to the live call on Saturday expecting me to make sense of everything. But I will share the things that I am sensing inside me, things that I have been intuitively in conversation with my deeper self. That's what I will be sharing on Saturday. So you're all welcome, and I look forward to being with you. And the call will be recorded as well, but please do look for that email this week with the Zoom link. So let's go into the pre-Mercury retrograde period that we are in. That's when I am recording this. And even you watch this after Wednesday or on Wednesday, and the Mercury has gone into the actual retrograde, it's not too late. So don't worry, because, universe isn't going to just turn on and turn off the faucets kind of thing. And the Mercury is going to be taking its retrograde very, very slowly. So things are going to way slow down for a little bit. So it's a really good time to connect with some of the things I'll be sharing here. And it's worth to go back to Lionsgate and that period that started at the end of July until August 12th or so in the Lionsgate that really fully opened. That the kind of the crescendo point was August 8th. There's been so much since that time. You can go back to what's been going on since that time. Really, it's been quite challenging, to say the least, but potent. And I talked about this at the beginning of August. One of the videos that I did is that August is going to be very, very powerful and potent and highly active month. Even though 7 planets are going retrograde this month and the Venus retrograde, there's been so much of kind of this actions outside of you, movements outside of you, but also the universe is asking us to really dive fully into the heart center. It makes sense because this entire month of August is this energy of Venus retrograde, this powerful Venus retrograde that we haven't experienced in a long time. This level of heart diving we haven't done. So, I think it's okay to just pause for a moment for the next couple of days pre-Mercury retrograde and allow yourself to slow down. That's the key. And like I said, the Mercury retrograde starts out super slowly. It will look stationary. It looks like nothing is happening in the sky. So it'll force us to slow down even our thinking, our responses, our reactions, and so on and so forth. And going back to this month, August started out with the full moon and it was a super full moon, and we're going to end it with another full moon. And we just had the micro new moon that's getting sandwiched in the middle while all these planets are going retrograde. So I am seeing lots and lots of conditions, which I will explain a little bit more on Saturday. But what I can say is that it's quite bio individual. The bio individuality of the symptoms are showing up. Usually, month by month or a period of time, I will get a sense, or I see in my clients where there are similarities that happen. So, like 1 month might be a lot to do with the gallbladder congestion, and then maybe we'll follow up with the liver issues. And then sometimes, like the kidneys will come up and the kidney stones, and maybe some of the fears around the kidneys that the kidneys are holding on to. So, generally, I can kind of see the collective and I could sense the collective struggles in our own physiology that will show up on the individual level. But this month, and particularly also this Mercury retrograde, isn't going to operate so cleanly like that or so easily deciphered. It's going to be very different from person to person to person. And there's some things that you really want to address during Mercury retrograde, which I will go into more in detail on Saturday. So, with this powerful Venus retrograde that is here at this pre-Mercury retrograde period, it's really hitting the heart of the matter. It's really the energetic fields. All of us are being asked to go into the heart center. And this really is the time that you can no longer avoid what is my heart truly here to express. So it's going beyond like, what is my heart desiring? What do I want? What do I need? But what is my expression on this earth that is centered in my heart? That's truly being asked right now at pre-Mercury retrograde period in the first 2-3 days. So that's why I chose Saturday to have a live call, because during that period, it's still going to be a slow moving, and that's going to sink in deeply into your heart. And for those of you that are in my Venus retrograde program, I talked about the word gravitas, the gravity of this Venus retrograde, and how this is such an important pivotal moment in your life, in human history. So take it not lightly, sincerely, and I talked about in the Venus retrograde group too, is to really deeply feel into what your heart is wanting to feel. And during the pre-Mercury retrograde, with pretty much all Mercury retrograde, we've been going through the shadow periods, right? Since August 3rd or so. I said to my husband, I said, this shadow period is going to hit us harder than other Mercury retrogrades in the past. I really felt it. So I kept recommending to him and to myself to, double check, triple check things, and technologically making sure that my computers are backed up. And I did all kinds of things. But even this morning, I received a notice for a delivery that was on the wrong day. And I called the company up and I said, well, we changed this a week ago, so I don't know what's going on. So the person that answered the call said, well, let me triple check this. So I thought that was perfect that, she didn't even say double check it, triple check it. So I think this is a wonderful time to triple check on things, not just technology and not the glitchy things that's going on all across, maybe your reservations or even like the delivery schedules and things like that. But triple check with your heart center. Is this really what you're supposed to be pursuing? Is this what you really want to share right now? Is this something that you are committed to doing for however next several years, whatever? It's like triple check with yourself. Pre-retrograde time is as important as while you're in the Mercury retrograde. I've been learning that more and more. And that makes more sense to me these days. Instead of on this day, I'm going to start worrying about it, or on this day, I'm going to start taking care of the technologies and the reservations and so on and so forth, and checking back into my heart. But do it already, because especially this month, there's that undercurrent of Venus retrograde that is constantly flowing through everything we do. So it is the heart matter. Everything will come back to the heart center. And it's so important. I've been saying this to several of my clients in the past week or so that I've been working with. I've been telling all of them, it's going to be okay. We are okay. I am okay. You are doing okay. All right. It may not be awesome and perfect. Well, perfection is another topic, isn't it? That limits us completely because the word perfection or perfect is to finish, it's to complete. So we're not going for perfection because completion is not what we are going after. We are in practice as human beings. We're practicing what it is to be on this earth individually as well as collectively with Mother Gaia and with what we have done in the past that is coming up. And we have to show up to clean up our acts as well. That's all coming into pictures right now. So, let's not look for perfection, but let's just tell one another, tell your heart, we're okay. We're okay. We're safe. We are enough right now. Okay. So that's going to be very important. And continue in to the Mercury retrograde. And previously to this too, in August, I said that this is such an important period to spiritually up level, spiritually grow up. And growing up means if you promise something to yourself, that you follow through. If you say to somebody, hey, you know what? I'm going to do this for you, then you follow through on that. Walk your talk. I think that is so important. I think so many, I would even take it at the bigger level, on a government level. Governments are not walking their talks. And that's leading to lots and lots of crisis. And this isn't going to stop necessarily right away. I think, we have to be realistic. I can't be somebody that is coming on to these kind of talks and videos and interviews and pretend that things are going to be amazing and we're all ascending and it's all, nothing but the light. I can't say that because there's beauty in darkness. That's why I love the moon cycles, as many of you know. There's healing, hidden healing in the moments of darkness. And we don't truly know what it is that we are here to express till we silence ourselves and go into that darkness. So what we as spiritual beings that are maturing as who we are need to do right now is not to become addicted to chasing light, but to stay in this moment and recognize how important it is that you're alive today. And that's the first quote that I started with on a Venus retrograde program. For those of you that are in that program, as you know, I shared my teacher's quote the very first day of Venus retrograde. So maybe go back to that quote, knowing that every moment is so important. Living in this moment, fully showing up in this moment is more important than ever before. So let's keep that in mind. And another thing that I would like to maybe reemphasize here is that pre-Mercury retrograde period is the time to quiet down before things begin to kind of feels like speeding up a little bit. And I think we'll be given that chance to quiet down and slow down, like I said, till about the Saturday of this week. And that's very welcoming to all of us as well. And as the Mercury retrograde comes in, we are going to be experiencing the half moon. So and I will mention a little bit more about this a little later here too in this video, but the moon's energy is going to have an impact on this Mercury retrograde. So stay tuned to that. I will mention it a little bit more. And like I said, it's a slowing down as if you are almost kind of getting stuck in a traffic kind of feeling till Saturday. So that's okay, right? Just slow things down and maybe take twice as long to do things and maybe you don't get as much done. That's okay. But you are a little bit more involved in a task. Each task, it's like just this. Like the Zen teachers would say, just wash this one dish, nothing else, just this, right? Chop wood and I forget the words, but like go get water or something like that. Maybe some of you can put it in the chat down there or the comment down there. I don't know, it just slipped by, but it's kind of this idea of you're just doing one task at a time. So during the pre-Mercury retrograde, please start to practice that. All right. And this Mercury retrograde is going to be both inspiring and insightful. I'm actually looking forward to slowing down a little bit, looking forward to go back into my heart center, take some stepping back kind of a thing before I take several steps forward after the Mercury retrograde. I am actually looking forward to this golden opportunity. I'm seeing this as kind of a beautiful chance that we've been given for 3 weeks to really look deeper, dive deeper into your patterns, your habits, and so that you can welcome the beautiful periods that are to come, even during the Mercury retrograde and beyond. And I think one thing that we want to keep in mind is that we are going to have one more Mercury retrograde. And if you include the shadow period, most of December into the beginning of next year's January. So this one to me gives you this golden opportunity before you welcome the next Mercury retrograde in December to really check in with what's these old patterns? Where am I not seeing, like how I'm not seeing this as an opportunity, and check back into your heart center. And pre-Mercury retrograde, I spent some time actually decluttering. I cleaned space. In Japan, we actually considered where gods come together. It's called kamidana. The word kamidana, kami means gods, but tana or dana means like a surface, like a tabletop or counter surface. So I've been doing this for quite some time now during the shadow period. So this entire month, I have been very conscious and diligently cleaning my kitchen counter. And I've been saying to my husband, well, God's going to come and have their own dinner here during the time when I'm sleeping or in the middle of the day or whatever. So I'm making sure that my kitchen counter is always, always clean. There are no clutters and there aren't any mails or maybe dirty dishes and things like that. So I've been very much paying attention to that because that's where the gods will gather together. So remember to clean out some surface level. So it isn't just about the closets. It isn't just about maybe your entryway, which I talk about, but clearing out like a surface that is horizontal surface will be very, very important. And be sure to thank the items that you're putting away and, for their services. And thank you for giving me the water in the glass, so that I can consume that. After you wash your glass, just thank these items, put away things, throw away things that you don't need anymore, but thank them, give them a sense of gratitude from you for what they have provided for you. And that's a great thing to do during the pre-Mercury retrograde. And I'm seeing this Mercury retrograde, I'm going to go into it a little bit more on Saturday, but as a collective initiation of some kind. It's not something that's like a knock your head kind of like it's really strong, but it's a gentle but firm initiation period. And that initiation comes to our lives individually, quite often here and there throughout our entire lives, from childhood to the adolescence to maybe after your college graduations or your first job and maybe your marriage, even divorce, even having your first child, so on and so forth. Those are all initiations that we go through. And I also see that this Mercury retrograde, not the one in December, but this one is a collective initiation of some kind. So stay tuned to that. And, I will perhaps go into it a little bit more on Saturday as well. And like I said, with the Mercury retrograde starting on Wednesday, Thursday is going to be the first half moon, meaning quarter moon. So that's going to be on Thursday. That's going to impact this Mercury retrograde, the beginning stage of it. So you might feel emotionally a little bit more unstable, teetering between emotional states. Like, am I here or am I there? Kind of a thing. Confusion can come up, maybe between should I choose this or should I choose that? Or you might contradict yourself by saying yes to something when you needed to actually say no, and later on backtracking it, that kind of things. Feel unsettled maybe for doing that too, and feel like there's little more or a lot more uncertainties on Thursday with the Mercury retrograde, but because of the moon's impact. And maybe you will feel a little bit polarized within yourself and a duality kicks in. This is when you're going between good and bad, or black and white, or this is the right and this is the left, kind of a thinking. So catch yourself, because during this week, I would say Thursday, Friday, you might get this sense, like an urge, feeling like urgency to speak up and maybe comment something on a Facebook or put something out into the public that later you may regret. So think it over, sleep, sleep through the night and see what you feel the next day. And so pay attention to your reactions. And maybe you want to respond to things by even, emailing the person back and say, hey, can I think this over? Can I get back to you? I am a little bit busy today, so I'll get back to you tomorrow afternoon or something like that, and delay some of your answers. And, this is such an opportunity for you to really see what pulls you apart, right? So stay with the task on hand. Like I said, be here now, be here now. That's going to bring you back to wholeness. So you're not unraveling, before the Mercury retrograde really gets going, right? So really settle in, come back to the wholeness, come back to your inner being, find that centered space. And I have linked below here with the Mercury retrograde video that I have done in the past. It's called 3 Blessings of Mercury Retrograde. So I'll put the link below there too. So you might want to review that video. I think it'll be very helpful for this Mercury retrograde as well, to know that this is not the time to fear. This is not the time to be anxious at all, because this is kind of an initiation for us to go deeper, initiation for us to grow into and elevate who we are. So please do watch that 3 Blessings of Mercury Retrograde video. So I have a lot more to say here with the pre-Mercury retrograde and into Mercury retrograde, but I'll save some of these things for Saturday's call. But I wanted to end today's call with just a little bit of a breathing technique that can be very supportive during the pre-Mercury retrograde, where I feel the most amount of elevated stress. And this is when I get the most amount of emails saying, oh no, Mercury retrograde's coming. I'm reading up on this everywhere and everybody's talking about it, and I'm a little bit nervous, and so on and so forth. So this is a really good time to come back to that breath, the natural breaths of yours. Come back to the belly, come back to the heart center. And then let's start with just blowing the air out. So exhale first completely. You can just open your lips a little bit and make the like whoosh, like an ocean sounds out of your mouth. Do that first, like you're blowing a candle for your birthday. Okay. Kind of thing. Just do that a couple of times so you're releasing some stagnations, old energy that is stuck in there already. That needs to be addressed anyway, right? We need to start addressing that by exhaling. Then when you're ready, let's breathe in through the nostrils, 4 counts on your own. And then hold for 7 counts. And then exhale for 8 counts. And if you want to breathe out through the mouth, that's okay. But really blow slowly if you're doing that. And then coming back to 4 counts, inhale. And hold for 7 with your own rhythm. And exhale for 8. And I recommend you do this at least 2 more rounds. Maybe you can finish up this video and do this somewhere really quiet, somewhere you can be alone and be with nature, preferably, maybe barefoot on the ground, and just do that maybe 4 rounds of it. Okay. And afterwards, if you feel like there's still kind of a stuck energy, then you can do that like blowing a candle, like that. Okay. And then you can let go of that. You know, the fact is we hold on to about 30% of air that we breathe in at the bottom lung lobes. So it's good to kind of blow that out and release them as well. Okay. So I look forward to going into a little bit more in depth on the Mercury retrograde, as well as just my sense of what I've been seeing in physiology, people's health. I want to address some of these. Maybe some of you have some questions. You can feel free to raise hands during the call, and to dedicate the portion of the time on Saturday for all our hearts, that we can come together and heal this Mother Gaia, but also send prayers and love and healing to so many of you, so many of us that are hurting right now. I want to dedicate some of that time to those of you, to let you know that you're not broken. You're not broken. So we will do that together. So if you're interested in, please look for my email. If you're not in my email list, please sign up through masamicovey.com. The link is below as well. I look forward to being with you again soon. Namaste.